Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are doing something a little different today. Usually we're looking at these really complex systems, history or the latest tech breakthroughs. But today we're looking at a system that I think dictates the happiness or the misery of about 90% of the population, at least once a year.
It's a system we all participate in, for sure, usually unwillingly and often with a lot of sweating involved.
Exactly. We're talking about the universal traveler's dilemma. It's that really specific visceral anxiety you get at like 11 p.m. the night before a flight.
Oh, yeah. I know it well.
You're staring at an open suitcase on your bed. You have a pile of clothes next to it that looks like a small mountain range.
Yeah.
And you are trying to solve a physics problem. How do I fit this mountain into this box, keep it under 50 pounds, and prepare for every possible weather event, from a blizzard to a heat wave?
And the answer almost always involves sitting on the suitcase to zip it shut and just, praying the zipper hold.
Right. But we aren't here to teach you how to pack a heavy bag better. We are looking at a stack of research today. I mean, from the absolute godfather of travel, Rick Steves, to the hardcore one-bag community on Reddit, to extreme minimalists like Catherine Leamy. And it all suggests we have been doing it all wrong.
Completely wrong.
We're talking about the art and science of indefinite travel with only a carry-on.
And I think we need to be really clear about what we mean by indefinite here. We aren't talking about, a weekend trip to Vegas.
No.
We are analyzing the actual methodology used by people who travel for 3 months, 6 months, maybe even a year without ever once checking a bag.
Which, I have to be honest, it sounds impossible. When I first read the brief for this, my first thought was, sure, if you're a college student willing to wear dirty clothes and sleep in a ditch, but the research suggests this is actually a more luxurious way to travel. That just feels so counterintuitive.
It is totally counterintuitive because we associate luxury with abundance, right? With having options.
Yeah.
Bringing the hairdryer, the extra shoes, the 3 evening gowns just in case there's a gala.
The just-in-case pile. My mortal enemy.
Exactly. But Rick Steves, who has spent basically his entire adult life in Europe, he argues that true luxury is actually mobility. It's about removing the friction between you and the actual experience.
He has this equation that I found really, really striking. It's his pick two rule. Heavy, happy, and cheap. Pick two.
It's such a brutal bit of logic, but it holds up completely when you think about it. We can break it down.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's say I want to be heavy and happy. I want my 3 suitcases, and I want to be comfortable. I want all my stuff.
Okay, then you are insulated.
Sure.
Completely. You're taking taxis from door to door because you can't possibly walk to the bus stop with all that gear.
Right.
You're paying porters to haul your bags. You're specifically booking hotels that have elevators and bellhops. So you're happy, sure, because you aren't lifting a finger, but you are just bleeding money. It is definitely not cheap.
Okay, so what if I'm on a budget? What if I want to be heavy and cheap?
Then you are suffering. I mean, truly suffering. You are that person we've all seen. And let's be honest, we've probably all been that person at some point.
I have absolutely been that person.
Dragging a 50-pound roller bag over the cobblestones in Rome. The wheels are rattling, your arm is vibrating, you're sweating through your shirt, hauling that bag up 5 flights of stairs because the budget hotel doesn't have a lift.
That's a very specific and painful memory for me.
So you're saving money, but you're just miserable. The happy part is gone.
So the logical conclusion, if you want to be happy and cheap,
you have to go light. You just have to. And this is where this whole philosophy of the back door comes in. This is a huge concept in all of our source material from Rick Steves. And the back door isn't just like a metaphor. It's a physical reality.
What does he mean by that? The back door.
He means that the best parts of Europe or Asia or South America, the authentic family-run pensions, the hill towns with those narrow medieval streets, the tiny rail stations that don't have escalators, they are physically inaccessible to heavy luggage.
So the heavy bag is a gatekeeping mechanism. It literally prevents you from entering the authentic experience.
Precisely. It's a barrier. If you have a massive suitcase, you are forced to stay in the tourist zone where the infrastructure can handle you, the big hotels, the main train stations. You lose the flexibility to just pivot.
Right, to be spontaneous.
Totally. There's a great anecdote in his book about him being in Copenhagen. He's finishing up a trip, and he just suddenly realizes he wants to go to Bergen in Norway.
A completely spontaneous detour.
Exactly. A whim. He checks a departures board. There is a flight leaving in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Because he has no checked bag, he just walks to the gate, hops on the plane, and is in Bergen 2 hours later. He talks about enjoying the magic hour sunset in this beautiful, salty port town, while everyone else on his original itinerary was probably still standing in a check-in line.
If he had a checked bag, that option literally doesn't exist. The system locks him in. You can't do that.
The bag anchors you. It anchors you to the airport infrastructure, the check-in desk, the carousel, the baggage claim. By cutting the bag, you cut the anchor. You're free.
But I have to play the skeptic here for a minute, because freedom is a nice abstract concept, but anxiety is a very real, visceral feeling. And Catherine Leamy, she's the 5-kilo traveler, she talks about this. She argues that we don't pack for the trip we're taking, we pack for our fears.
It's the what-if trap. It gets all of us.
I am the king of the wettest trap. Seriously. What if I get invited to meet the ambassador? What if there is a freak monsoon in July? What if I spill red wine on my only pair of pants?
And look, those aren't like crazy thoughts, but they lead to a bloated bag. Lammy says we pack for the absolute worst-case scenario, which happens maybe, 1% of the time?
If that.
Instead of packing for the best-case scenario, which is what you'll actually be doing 99% of the time.
So how do you break that? Because it feels like a safety blanket, having all that stuff.
You have to fundamentally shift your mindset to what she calls the trust factor. You have to trust that the destination you're going to is not a barren wasteland.
Right.
Her point is, they sell toothpaste in Bulgaria, they sell socks in Tokyo, they have pharmacies in Peru.
That's a surprisingly hard hurdle for people to get over. We tend to view our destination as a consumer desert sometimes, like we're astronauts going to the moon.
We do. We think we need to bring our own complete life support system. But in reality, running out of something is an opportunity. It's not a failure. Buying a sweater in a little thrift store in Paris because you got unexpectedly cold isn't a failure of planning.
It's a travel memory.
It's a travel memory. It's an interaction with a local. It becomes part of the story. It's a cultural exchange, not a hassle.
That's a great reframing. I like that a lot. It's not an error. It's an experience.
Exactly. And Leamy has this really brutal strategy for overcoming this anxiety during the packing process itself. She calls it the 50% rule.
Which is, what, as brutal as it sounds?
Pretty much. You lay out everything you think you absolutely need on your bed. Every sock, every gadget, every just-in-case item, the whole mountain.
Okay, I'm picturing it. It's a big mountain.
And then without mercy, you cut it in half.
You just remove half the items. It sounds painful.
It is painful, but it's necessary. You look at each item and you ask, will I use this enough to justify hauling it over the Swiss Alps on my back? If the answer is maybe, it stays home. If the answer is I might need it if X, Y, and Z happen, it stays home. Only the definite yes items get to go.
Okay, so let's say we've bought into the philosophy. We are mentally prepared to shed the weight. Now we have to talk hardware, the actual vessel, the bag itself. And looking at the Reddit threads and the expert blogs, there seems to be a bit of a civil war happening.
Oh, it's the Hatfields and McCoys of the travel world. It really is. Team backpack versus team roller.
And it gets heated. People have very strong opinions. You have Rebecca from the Workaway blog, who is a backpack purist. And then you have Karthika Gupta from Condé Nast, who is all about the roller. Let's weigh these options, literally and figuratively.
It really, at the end of the day, it comes down to your terrain profile. What kind of ground are you going to be covering?
Right.
If you are doing what Rebecca does, volunteering, moving between hostels, maybe walking a mile from a rural train station to a farm in Iceland, wheels are a liability, a total liability.
Because wheels don't work on mud or gravel.
They don't work on mud, they are terrible on cobblestones, which will vibrate your arm right out of its socket, and they are completely useless on stairs. If you have a roller bag in a classic European subway station with no escalator, you are essentially just carrying a heavy, awkward box by the handle, which is ergonomically terrible.
So the backpack, specifically something like the Osprey Fairview 40L she mentions, it transfers that load to your hips and your core.
Right. And that's the key difference. A good travel pack isn't a school bag. It has a legitimate padded hip belt. It takes the 20 pounds off your shoulders and puts it on your skeletal structure, which is designed to carry weight. You can walk 5 miles like that. You become an urban hiker.
And here's the big but. You look like a backpacker.
You do.
You look like you're on a gap year. There's an aesthetic.
There is an aesthetic cost, yes.
Yeah.
And a practical one.
And there's a sweat cost. I don't care how breathable the mesh on the back is. If you have a bag strapped to your back in Bangkok in July, you are going to arrive with a giant sweat patch.
Which is precisely why Karthika argues for the roller. If your travel is mostly city to city, Uber to airport, train to hotel, The roller is just superior. You aren't carrying the weight. You are wheeling it. It's dignified. It's less physically taxing on your spine.
She recommends the Mono's Carry-On Plus. And this brings up a whole other debate, too, the hard shell versus soft shell thing.
The hard shell is the current darling of the design world. It looks sleek, and it protects your breakables. If you have a camera or a laptop, that polycarbonate shell gives you real peace of mind when someone jams their bag against yours in the overhead bin.
However, I noticed a very specific critique of hard shells in the Roan Bag subreddit. They call it the Tetris problem.
Oh, the lack of give. Yeah.
Exactly. If you have a soft bag, you can always shove one last pair of socks into a corner. You can kind of sit on it to compress it. A hard shell has zero tolerance. If it doesn't shut, it just doesn't shut. The end.
Which is why the Cotopaxi Alpa roller is such an interesting hybrid that came up in the research. It has a hard back for durability and structure, but a soft TPU-coated front panel. It gives you that little bit of cheater's expansion room, a little bit of give.
So the verdict seems to be, if you are going off-road, literally or figuratively, strap it to your back. If you're staying on the pavement, wheel it.
That's a great way to put it. And regardless of the bag type, you have to nail the dimensions. Rick Steves is militant about this. 9 by 21 by 14 inches.
Why those specific numbers? It seems so precise.
Because that is the standard for the strictest European budget airlines. Ryanair, EasyJet, the ones that will charge you a fortune if your bag is 1 inch too big. If you fit those dimensions, you will fit almost anywhere in the world. But if you buy the standard carry-on size at an American department store, it is often 22 or even 23 inches. You get to the gate in Dublin and they make you check it. And your whole system collapses. Game over.
Now, we can't ignore the personal item. This seems to be the glorious loophole in the whole system.
It is the secret weapon. It really is. Most airlines allow one carry-on for the overhead bin and one personal item that has to fit under the seat in front of you. Rebecca uses a conking backpack for this. But the best hack, and I laughed out loud when I read this in the Reddit thread, is the neck pillow hack.
Oh, this is absolute genius. Walk us through the physics of this scam.
It's barely a scam. It's more like malicious compliance. So you know those U-shaped travel pillows, usually filled with memory foam?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the hack is you buy one with a removable cover, you take out the memory foam stuffing, you throw that away or just leave it at home, and you stuff the pillow cover with your extra clothes.
Wait, what?
Socks, underwear, maybe a thin t-shirt or two. You're basically creating a wearable packing cube.
So you are literally wearing your extra laundry around your neck as you board the plane.
You are. And the gate agents don't count it as a bag. It's a pillow. It doesn't weigh against your carry-on limit. It gives you maybe an extra 2 or 3 liters of packing space completely hidden in plain sight.
That is sticking it to the man in the most comfortable way possible.
I love that.
And speaking of squeezing things in, let's talk security hacks for the bag itself. Rebecca mentioned carabiners.
Carabiners are incredibly useful, not just for climbing. She clips them to the outside of her pack. You can use them to clip your hiking boots to the outside of the bag if they don't quite fit inside. Or a hat, or a water bottle. It expands your carrying capacity without expanding the bag itself.
And locks. Are they really necessary?
Essential. Especially if you're staying in hostels or sleeping on overnight trains. You want small, TSA-approved locks for the zippers. But Rebecca also suggests a low-tech solution, zip ties.
Zip ties, like for cables.
Yeah. If you are going through a crowded market and you're worried about pickpockets trying to quietly unzip your backpack, you just zip tie the 2 main zippers together. It's cheap, it's effective, no one's getting in there quickly.
But how do you get in?
You just have to remember to pack a pair of nail clippers in an easily accessible outside pocket so you can get into your bag when you arrive.
Okay, we have the bag, we have it locked down, now we have to fill it. And this is where the panic really sets in. How do you travel for 3 months with only a carry-on's worth of clothes without looking and smelling like a bum?
You have to adopt the capsule wardrobe concept. Catherine Leamy suggests the rule of 3. It's very simple. 3 tops, 3 bottoms, 3 outer layers.
That seems impossible. My brain immediately says I have to wear the same 3 shirts for 3 months. It just sounds smelly. That's the immediate reaction.
It does sound smelly. And it would be if you were packing cotton. But this is where the technology of the fabric completely changes the math. If there is one single hero in this entire stack of research, it is the sheep, specifically the merino sheep.
The MVP of travel. It was mentioned in every single source. But why? I think most people hear wool, and they think of that scratchy, heavy sweater their grandmother knitted them in 1990. They think itchy and hot.
We need to completely update the definition. Merino is a specific breed of sheep that produces incredibly fine fibers. We measure wool fiber thickness in microns. That scratchy sweater, that was probably 30 or 40 microns wide. The fibers are stiff, so they poke your skin.
And it feels itchy.
Right. Merino wool is often down in the 15 to 19 micron range. It is microscopically soft and flexible. It bends against your skin rather than poking it.
So it feels more like a high-end cotton.
Often softer, actually. But the magic isn't the feel, it's the chemistry of the fiber. The core of a wool fiber is hydrophilic. It loves water, so it actively pulls moisture, like sweat, off your body. But the exterior of the fiber is hydrophobic. It repels water.
So it pulls sweat off of you, but the shirt itself doesn't feel wet.
Exactly. It's a natural wicking system. It moves moisture to the surface where it can evaporate. But the real superpower for the traveler is the antimicrobial property.
The no-smell factor. This is the holy grail.
This is it. Here's the gross reality of why your clothes smell. It's not actually your sweat. Sweat is mostly odorless. It's the bacteria on your skin that eat the sweat and create odor as a byproduct.
Okay.
Cotton is a perfect breeding ground for that bacteria. It gets wet, it stays wet, and the bacteria just throw a party. Polyester, which is what most gym clothes are made of, is oil-based. It actually bonds with your body oils, and the bacteria create this biofilm on the plastic fibers. That's why your gym clothes can get that permanent funk even after you wash them.
Gross. I know that smell.
Merino, on the other hand, contains a fatty acid called lanolin, and the physical structure of the fiber itself is scaly and jagged on a microscopic level, making it really hard for bacteria to latch on and multiply. The Workaway blog mentions Rebecca wearing her merino socks for a full week without washing.
A week.
A week. The Reddit users talk about wearing merino t-shirts for 10 days straight in the humidity of Thailand.
And they claim, seriously, no smell.
No detectable odor. The routine is, you take it off at night, you hang it up to let it air out, and the next morning it's just neutral, ready to go again.
That is the absolute game changer. Because if you can wear a shirt 5 or 6 times before washing it, you really only need 2 or 3 shirts.
Precisely. You aren't packing for variety every day. You are packing for utility and performance. And brands like Wool-X or Unbound Merino have figured out how to cut these shirts so they look like normal, stylish streetwear, not technical hiking gear. You can wear them to a museum or a nice bar, and you don't look like you just came off the mountain.
Are there alternatives? Because merino can be pricey. It's an investment.
It can be. The research pointed to a few others. Alpaca is rising in popularity. Brands like Paca. It has similar properties to wool, but it's even lighter and some say softer. Karthika Gupta mentions hemp, specifically the brand Jungmaven. Hemp is naturally antibacterial and has this really cool property where it actually gets softer the more you wash it.
And what should we absolutely avoid? What's the enemy fabric?
Heavy denim. Rick Steves is adamant about this. A heavy pair of Levi's takes forever and a day to dry if you have to wash them in a sink. They're heavy to carry. If you absolutely must bring jeans, Karthika suggests travel denim, like the brand Doer. It's lighter, has more stretch, and is treated to dry faster.
What about coats? A big coat can take up half a suitcase.
That's where the puffer jacket comes in. Everyone seems to have one now, and for good reason. Down, or a synthetic down alternative, has an incredible warmth-to-weight ratio, and crucially, it is extremely compressible.
Right.
You can stuff a Patagonia or a North Face puffer jacket into its own pocket, and it becomes the size of a grapefruit. You just can't do that with a heavy wool pea coat.
So it's all about layering. You use the onion strategy.
That's the one. A base layer, probably merino, a warmth layer, like a fleece or a light sweater, and a waterproof, windproof outer shell, like a thin raincoat. With those 3 pieces, you can combine them to handle almost any weather, from a cool evening to a freezing, rainy day.
Let's move down to the feet. Footwear. This is what I call the heaviest hurdle. I have a friend who travels with, I'm not kidding, 5 pairs of shoes just in case.
That is travel sin number 1. It's the fastest way to a heavy bag. Shoes are dense, they are awkwardly shaped, and they are heavy. The consensus from all our experts is crystal clear. A maximum of 2 to 3 pairs total, including the ones on your feet.
And the cardinal rule is wear your heaviest pair on the plane.
Always. Always, always, always. You wear your hiking boots or your clunky sneakers through security and onto the plane. You never, ever pack them.
So what are those 2 or 3 essential pairs? The one-bag community on Reddit is completely obsessed with trail runners.
They really are the perfect travel sweet spot. A good trail runner, like the Ultra Experience Wild, was mentioned a lot. It has the aggressive grip of a hiking boot, so you can climb a muddy trail. But it has the cushion of a high-end sneaker, so you can walk 10 miles in a city on hard pavement without your feet dying. And they're usually made of breathable mesh, so they dry really fast if they get wet. It basically replaces the need for a separate hiking boot and a sneaker.
They can be kind of ugly. You can't always wear neon green trail runners to a nice dinner in Paris.
That's the catch. They are definitely sporty. And that's where the second pair comes in. Karthika recommends something like the Clay Monroe. It's a vegan leather sneaker. It looks sharp. It can be dressed up with chinos or a dress, but it's still comfortable enough to walk in all day. It fills that smart casual gap.
And the third pair, if you have room.
Sandals,
Yeah.
absolutely essential, especially if you are doing the hostel life. You need shower shoes.
Oh, God, the dreaded hostel shower.
You do not want your bare feet touching that floor, ever. Something like Teva Hurricanes are a good hybrid choice. They are rugged enough you could do a light hike in them, but they're rubber, so they work perfectly as shower shoes.
And I saw a packing tip for shoes that I thought was clever, using the dead space inside them.
Yes, a packed shoe should never be an empty shoe. You stuff your socks and your underwear inside your shoes. It saves a surprising amount of space in the main compartment, and it also helps the shoe keep its shape and not get crushed.
And use a bag for them.
Definitely. Put them in a disposable shower cap from a hotel or just a plastic grocery bag. Keep those dirty soles from touching your clean clothes.
But even with magical sheep wool and versatile shoes, eventually you do have to wash things. And this is the part of the carry-on life that I think really scares people. The laundry.
It is the inevitable trade-off. There's no escaping it. You are trading the weight of a suitcase for a weekly chore. You are becoming your own washing machine.
Rick Steves talks about this so fondly. He calls it his sink ritual. But I've tried this in the past, and I have run into a major trip-ruining problem.
Let me guess. Drying time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You wash your socks in the hotel sink. You hang them over the shower rod. You wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
You have a train to catch at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And your socks are still soaking wet.
Huh.
Now you have to pack wet, clammy socks, which makes everything else in your bag smell like mildew. It's the worst.
That is the classic rookie mistake. You missed the single most critical step in the process. You didn't do the towel burrito.
The towel burrito. It sounds like a spa treatment, but I have a feeling it is much more aggressive than that.
It is simple physics, but I swear it feels like magic the first time you do it. Here's the protocol, step by step. You wash the shirt in the sink using your Dr. Bronner's or a laundry strip. You rinse it out. You wring it out by hand as best you can. It's still dripping, right?
It's still very wet.
Now you take the dry, fluffy bath towel from the hotel rack. You lay it flat on the bathroom floor. You lay your wet shirt flat on top of the towel, smoothing it out.
Okay, got it.
Now you roll it up really tight, like a burrito or a jelly roll. So the shirt is completely wrapped up inside the dry towel.
And then, this is the part I'm missing.
Then you stomp on it.
You stomp on it.
You stand on that towel burrito and you march in place. You put your full body weight into it for about 30 seconds. What you are doing is using hydraulic pressure to force the water molecules out of the shirt fibers and into the thousands of thirsty cotton loops of the towel.
Because the towel can hold way, way more water than the shirt can.
Exactly. You're physically transferring the moisture from one fabric to the other. When you unroll that burrito, the shirt isn't wet anymore. It's just barely damp.
That's the difference between it drying in 3 hours versus drying in 20 hours. That's huge.
It is everything. You hang that damp shirt near a window or in front of an air conditioner, and it is bone dry by morning. Every time. Even in a humid climate like Southeast Asia.
That actually makes the whole sink washing thing feasible. It removes that damp clothes in the bag anxiety completely.
And when you couple that technique with the laundry strips that the Reddit threads mentioned, those are basically dehydrated sheets of detergent that look like paper. You have a full laundromat in your toiletry kit that weighs less than a deck of cards.
Those trips are fascinating. No liquids, no powders to spill.
No exploding goo in your bag. You just tear off a little strip. It dissolves instantly in water. It's chemistry solving a major logistics problem for travelers.
I've also heard about people carrying a universal drain stopper.
Yes. Because surprisingly, a lot of hotel and hostel sinks don't have plugs that actually work. They leak. A flat rubber drain stopper costs $1, takes up 0 space, and guarantees you can turn any sink or tub into a washing machine.
Okay, moving on from laundry to the bathroom bag. Toiletries. This is where the TSA 311 liquid rule just kills us.
It does. It's a huge constraint. And the strategy here is twofold. Go solid and decant ruthlessly.
Solids, we mentioned it. Solid shampoo bars, solid conditioner bars.
But it goes further. You can get solid deodorant, solid perfume, even solid toothpaste tablets. Catherine Leamy swears by toothpaste tabs. They look like little mints. You just pop one in your mouth, Chew it into a paste and brush. No liquid, no paste, no mess. You completely bypass the liquid rule.
And decanting, what's the best strategy there?
The golden rule is never bring the full-size bottle of anything, ever. Even the travel-size bottles you buy at the drugstore are often way too big for what you actually need for a week. A Reddit tip that I absolutely loved: use contact lens cases
For what? For contact?
for your liquids. For things like face cream, foundation, moisturizer, eye cream, a contact lens case holds a surprising amount of goop easily enough for a week or two. And it's tiny. It's designed to be leak-proof, and it's dirt cheap.
That is incredibly smart. And again, the mindset is to rely on the local economy.
Yes. Pack a multi-use product like aloe vera gel. It works as shaving cream and sunburn relief. But if you run out of shampoo, just buy shampoo. It's a fun little mission.
Let's talk tech. We are living in a digital age, which in some ways actually helps us pack lighter.
Oh, massively. It's the paperless revolution. Rick Steves used to be famous for this ritual. He would take his big, heavy guidebook, slice it up with a razor blade, and only take the chapters for the cities he was actually visiting. He'd throw the rest of the book away.
That feels so sacrilegious to a book lover, tearing up a book.
It hurts a little, doesn't it? But now we don't have to. We have e-readers. A Kindle holds 1,000 books and weighs just a few ounces. Although Rebecca from Workaway admits she still carries one physical paperback, she calls it her one guilty pleasure.
She said you'd have to pry it from her cold, dead hands. She loves book swapping in hostels.
Exactly. And that's allowed. You're allowed to have one irrational luxury item. For Rick Steves, it's his big noise-canceling headphones. He says they are worth every ounce of space for the sanity they provide on long train rides and planes.
What about charging all this tech? The adapter problem.
You need to invest in one high-quality universal travel adapter. Don't buy the cheap ones. Get a good one that has multiple USB ports built in, so you can charge your phone, your watch, and your Kindle all at once from a single wall outlet.
And leave the laptop at home.
Unless you are specifically a digital nomad and you need it for work, yes. Your phone is your central hub now. It's your GPS, your camera, your flashlight, your boarding pass, your translation dictionary, your library.
Shifting back to safety and security, Rick Steves is borderline obsessed with the money belt.
And he's absolutely right to be. He has a great line. He says, you can lose your bag, but you can't lose your trip.
Meaning what, exactly?
If you lose your clothes, your toiletries, it's an inconvenience. You can buy new stuff. But if you lose your passport and all your credit cards and your cash, the trip is over. You're done. He insists on a money belt worn under your clothes, not a fan pack. A flat fabric pouch worn against your skin.
And that's where you keep the essentials.
Your passport, one backup credit card, and your deep cash reserves. And then you use the decoy wallet.
Right, explain that.
You keep a cheap old wallet in your pocket or your purse. In it, you have a small amount of daily spending cash and maybe an expired library card or an old gift card. If you get mugged, you hand over the decoy. The thief gets something and runs off, and your real trip-saving stash is safe and hidden in your pants.
It's a smart system. I want to transition to something we touched on briefly at the start, but I think it deserves a real spotlight. And that's the connection between packing light and this idea of sustainable long-term travel, specifically using platforms like Workaway.
This is such a crucial connection. We often think of packing light just as a personal convenience, but it is actually an enabler for a completely different style of travel. It enables what people call slow travel.
How so? What's the link?
Well, if you aren't burdened by heavy stuff, you are more agile, more mobile. But more importantly, if you are living out of a single backpack, you become a very low-impact guest. Workaway is a platform where travelers exchange a few hours of their time and skills each day for free accommodation and food.
So it's a work exchange, basically.
It is. You might stay with a family in Tuscany helping with the olive harvest for a month, or work at a surf hostel in Thailand, or help build an eco-lodge in Costa Rica. It's incredibly immersive. You are living in someone's home as part of their community.
I see.
And Rebecca's point in the Workaway blog is that if you show up to a host family's small apartment with 3 massive suitcases, you are physically dominating their space. You are a burden. It's awkward. But if you show up with one backpack that slides neatly under your bed, you are low maintenance. You fit into their life so much easier.
And because you aren't paying for hotels or Airbnbs every night, your daily burn rate, your budget, just plummets.
Which is the absolute key to long-term travel. If you remove the accommodation and some food costs, you can suddenly afford to travel for 6 months instead of just 2 weeks. You can stay in one place for a whole month and really get to know it.
Which brings in the sustainability angle.
Exactly. The environmental impact of flying to a new city every 3 days is massive. The carbon footprint is huge. Staying in one village for a month, eating local food, working with the community, that is a much more sustainable and responsible way to see the world. And packing light is the entry ticket to that lifestyle because it makes you mobile enough to get to those places and adaptable enough to stay there.
It's about being a participant in the culture, not just a consumer of it.
That is a beautiful way to put it.
Before we wrap up, let's hit a few final logistical hacks for life on the road. What happens when you inevitably buy things, souvenirs, or when your clothes just wear out?
You need to have a release valve for your bag. The first strategy is simple. Mail things home. If you buy a beautiful ceramic bowl in Japan or a wool blanket in Peru, do not carry it for the next 3 months. It's not worth the wait. Box it up and mail it home. The postage is a small price to pay for your freedom.
And the discard strategy. That sounds a little harsh.
It's for your clothes. The Reddit threads talk about this. You pack your oldest underwear and socks, the ones on their last legs. You wear them one last time on the road, and then you just throw them away. It slowly frees up space in your bag as you go. It sounds wasteful, but if they were headed for the rag bin anyway, why bother bringing them all the way home?
That makes sense. And finally, for those puffy items, if we don't have a vacuum cleaner to use those vacuum seal bags, what's the alternative?
You use the manual compression bags. They work by rolling. They're essentially giant, heavy-duty Ziploc bags with a one-way valve. You put your puffy jacket or your sweaters inside, you zip it almost all the way shut, and then you roll it up tightly from the bottom.
Like squeezing a tube of toothpaste.
Exactly. You physically squeeze all the air out through the open corner in the valve, then you seal it shut. It stays compressed. It can shrink a puffy jacket to half its original size. It's an absolute lifesaver for winter travel.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today. I mean, from the philosophy of freedom to the physics of towel burritos.
We really have.
If we had to summarize the absolute key takeaways for you, the listener, the person who is about to go do a test pack, what are the top 4?
Okay, number 1, pack for the best case and plan to buy for the worst. Trust that the world can provide what you need when you need it.
I like that.
Number 2, merino wool is the MVP. It's your best friend. It allows you to pack half the clothes because you'll be washing them half as often.
Okay.
Number 3, laundry is not a chore to be feared. It's a weekly ritual. Embrace the sink wash and master the towel burrito. It will change your life.
Right.
And number 4, one bag gives you the ultimate luxury, and that luxury is freedom. The freedom to change your plans, to move fast, and to focus on the experience, not on your stuff.
I love that. And I want to leave everyone with a final thought, something that really struck me from the research. We talked about how we pack our fears. By unpacking our bags, by consciously taking things out, we are actually dismantling those anxieties. We're proving to ourselves in a very tangible way that we can handle the world with less. If we trust ourselves to navigate a foreign country with just 20 pounds of gear on our backs, what else can we handle in life with less baggage?
That is a powerful thought. It's really about self-reliance. When you realize you have everything you truly need right there on your back, you walk a little taller, you feel more capable.
So here's your challenge for the weekend. Do a test pack. Put everything you think you would need for a month-long trip into a single carry-on bag. Zip it up, put it on, walk around the block, see how it feels. You might just find that you are ready for a much bigger adventure right now.
And remember the rule, if you can't carry it comfortably for a mile, you can't bring it.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Safe travels, everyone.
Travel light.